So yeah, I don't normally do videos like this, but I feel like it needs to happen. Yeah, so the other day I went to the London Swap and Play tour, and it's fair to say it's had mixed reviews. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my honest review of it. You know, people might say I'm going to be biased towards Topps. This one's just going to be an incredibly honest review of the Topps Swap and Play tour, which was held at Spurs' stadium. Now, to start off with, Spurs' stadium isn't anything special, I have to say that. So Spurs fans, come at me if you will, but it's not a football stadium, let's be honest. It's a business, corporate attraction. There's nothing football. It doesn't look like a football stadium, let's be honest. They went too flashy, tried to overboard Arsenal with the seat capacity, and ended up making it look like a toilet seat. And it's nothing special. Yes, from a distance, the architecture looks fantastic, but close up, it just doesn't feel football stadium-y. It feels like maybe a museum. It does look a bit like a museum, but there's no history or trophies to put in that museum, which is quite ironic considering it's a Spurs stadium. Carrying on, Swap and Play Tour. So this is the first event, I believe, held at Spurs' new stadium. And obviously security was going to be high. And yeah, the security at the event was absolutely crazy. There was, in fact, there's little kids going to this event, right? And they're getting searched. Bags are getting searched. What do they think is going to happen? What will a brand new stadium be trashed by kids opening and collecting, swapping cards, even if they could do that, judging by all the queues that were around there? Anyway, really not that big a deal. The security at Spurs' ground was, yes, I understand why it could be that hefty, but it ruined some kids' days, I have to say. Obviously the event was very, very busy, and if you got there past 10 o'clock, you were going to be queuing outside for about 45 minutes to an hour, like myself. And a lot of you in the event didn't actually get to see me, because once you queued to get in the event, you were queuing to either meet the F2, I don't know why they were there anyway, and Berbatov, or upstairs queuing for the swap shop. And some people were queuing for about 3 to 4 hours and not even getting to do those things. You know, I've got a comment here from someone on the Instagram. I'm going to put a picture on the screen now. I'm going to blur out the username. But they said they travelled 3 hours after a 24-hour shift yesterday to take his 9-year-old lad today. Queued for over 3 hours and got nowhere near meeting the F2. People pushing in, no organisation among the queues. And the amount of kids getting filtered through was tediously slow. Yeah, I can agree with that. And people were queuing outside in boiling hot midday sunshine. If you got there at 11 o'clock, you were probably queuing about 2 hours to get in. And that was when the sun was at its peak. I know this because of my school days and learning about the sun and what it does. But it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and there was no form of, you know, helping people out. Maybe putting little umbrellas along the queues. You know, it just didn't seem like they were catering for the safety. It was health and safety, pretty much. They just didn't seem they were catering for that at all. Which, for a company like Topps, they've got the money. We know they've got the money. They've got the money. Why couldn't they, you know, just sort of help people out? Maybe giving them forms to fill out in the queue, or maybe some activities. Yes, there were people going around giving free five-player packs, but maybe give them a choice. Maybe get out some Match Attax extra packs, maybe Match Attax main collection, maybe Champions League, because they were all giving me Champions League. That's the only ones I got given when I was in the queue for 45 minutes. And that wasn't even that bad, 45 minutes. People queuing for 2 hours in the hot boiling sun, no shade whatsoever at all. They were not prepared for an even longer queue than what was expected. They had the winding queue. They had a bit of that just before the entrance and where people got searched and etc, etc. And then after that, they gave up. And then people were queuing along the side, and there was no shade. There was no shade at all. It's just they should have put umbrellas or a bit of shade up. You know, I'm sure they could have managed to do that, but yes, I can understand if they couldn't, because the Spurs security was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, the comment goes on to say, after we gave up 3 hours queuing, we then joined the back of another mile-long queue to get sticker swaps and was told it was cancelled due to the length of the queue. Yeah, that was one of the biggest issues. The queues. I mean, people were queuing for 3 hours to get their stickers and cards swapped in the swap shop upstairs. And they didn't even get them. Yeah, some people didn't even finish their collections. People travelled, I think some person travelled 100 odd miles, 40 miles. You know, people travelled hefty distance. I travelled hefty. I travelled from Kent. I know, yes, it's close to London, but people were travelling from Northampton, down in Brighton. You know, it's not cheap as well. You know what trains like? They're very expensive. Even if you drove, the petroleum costs on that was ridiculous. And the whole purpose of the event is to complete your collections and play the game. Yes, there was hardly any queues for playing the game. When I went over there was people getting straight in playing the game. And by the way, I have to congratulate the person who won the London event, and he's a legend. His dad's a legend as well. So I hope you are watching this, and congratulations. I hope you win the whole thing because you deserve it, because you're a great guy and you've been practicing. Because at the start, when I first bumped into him because he was a fan of mine, he was struggling, and now look at him. He won a Mastercard at the October Festival, and now look at him. He's the top London champion. It's an incredible achievement, and I've got to congratulate him on that. Anyway, back to the topic. No queue for the playing the game, but hefty queues. 3 to 4 hours for the F2. 2 to 3 hours for the swap shop, and some people didn't even get to do that. Some person got wrestled out by 6 security guards because he was in the queue for 4 hours and never got to meet the F2. That's disgraceful. That is disgraceful. You can't be queuing for 4 hours. You have to have more organisation, Tops, to ensure people are queuing for the right reasons, not to queue to get into fights. You know, and it's in front of children who don't want to be seeing that type of stuff. You know, it's not a nice thing to look at. But yeah, on a personal note, hardly anyone came up to me, and that's probably why everyone was watching this video and thinking, "Oh, you're so salty, bro." But the reason why people didn't come up to me is because they were in queues. There was loads of people looking at me, waving at me. You know, just they couldn't go out the queue. You know, they would have met up with me. What I needed was another stand or a little table to sit at. But I can understand there wasn't enough space at the event for that for me to be catered for that purpose. But you know, people I think it was 5 or 6 people came up to me and got a signed card off me and a picture. And respect to those people who came up to me, because I don't think any of them were in queues. So fair play, you know. I reckon a fair few was in the F2 queue in the swap shop upstairs, or even outside in the boiling hot weather. It's just ridiculous, to be honest. Absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, there wasn't enough space to cater me for a little space to sit at. Obviously, they had the Match of the Day magazine people, Paz and Ketch. I've got no problem with them at all. They're sound guys. But what, you know, maybe a little table next to them may have done, but who knows? It's probably Spurs security. That's how it is now, you know. Security at the stadium was probably the biggest cause for downfall, and the lack of organisation / preparation by the people at Tops, as you can see by a lot of the comments on social media. Yeah, someone spent £130 going there today to stand up for 5 to 6 hours and come home with nothing at all to show for it. Complete and utter waste of a day, and will not be bothering again. My lad was in tears all the way home. Now that is something which needs to be addressed, because you don't want that. This is Tops Match Attacks is a company catered for kids to collect cards for the teams they love, you know, and they support. And they're collecting cards because they love it. And to go travel and pay £130 and get nothing to show for it, it puts a bad marker on Tops' name. And I think a lot of people after this event will be waiting for Panini to take over. But who knows, will there ever be another Swap and Play tour? Could that have been the last event? And if it is, what a shame, because what a bad way to end it. You know, yes, Spurs' ground, you know, it was sought after, but it's just lack of organisation, really. There was the whole event. You'd walk in, there was queues everywhere, just left, right and centre, there was queues. You weren't going to go throughout the whole day. Unless you got there at very early time, you weren't going to go there without queuing the whole day. So this guy here, 5 to 6 hours, absolutely ridiculous, just standing up. And that's not good enough. That's not how you should treat customers. You know, there should have been multiple swap shops, but I don't know. Also, quick side note, I apologise to all the people who couldn't meet me at the event. I know a lot of people messaged me on social media before and after saying where you're gonna be, and I couldn't specify anything because I had no designated space. I was trying to sit there, but people were looking at me, waving at me, but I couldn't go up to them because that's a bit awkward. They couldn't go up to me because they're in a queue. It was a tough situation to be in. Overall, to be honest, Tops were prepared, but they weren't prepared for the unexpected. That's what I think, because apparently 8,000 people were at the event on Saturday at the time of filming this. 8,000, that's a lot of people, and I reckon 50%, probably more of them, went home disappointed, maybe 70%. It was very busy, much busier than Tops expected, so they had to prepare for the unexpected. They had to get more of those winding queues, they had to get more swap shops, they had to get double the amount. But having the F2 there, and they don't even do match attacks. Where is the relevance of the F2 to match attacks and the match attacks community? Surely match attacks should be, the event should be celebrating the world of match attacks. Yes, they've done one video on it, but surely getting the F2 has made the queues 10 times worse. It gave people an incentive to go. And I mean, why would you bother getting them in when, I mean, yeah, they're nothing to do with match attacks. It's like getting the Sidemen to come along. It's the same relevance, you know. They do a bit of football. It's like, just get Bazinga down. He sometimes does match attacks. He's got more relevance of match attacks than the F2 do, you know. It was just a bit of a silly decision in my eyes at the start, and it was always going to create excessive queues. And where was Dan Magnus? Where was Dan Magnus? You know, what a guy. He just gone, you know. He was replaced by the F2, and I noticed he deleted all of his social media posts about Tops on Instagram, which is pretty mental. So something might be going on around there. But yeah, where was Dan Magnus, man? What a guy. He's entertaining. Every single year he's entertaining kids at the Tops festivals and at the Swap and Play tours with pretty much the same routine. But he's doing it. He's doing it, and he's giving kids a bit of enjoyment whilst, you know, maybe they're queuing or maybe they're waiting for an event. Because take the Leicester Swap and Play tour from 2016. What an event! Probably one of the best events. I think it's 2017 actually. Yeah, 2017. One of the best events I've been to. And that was where me and WB had a little stand, and we did some stuff on stage, and we did some competitions. You know, why was it not like that this year? I don't know. At the end of the day, it's Tops' decision, and in my opinion, they made the wrong choice in getting the F2 there, because it created hefty queues. Obviously, because 9.5 million people were subscribed to them. It was always going to be a busy queue. But you know, it's Tops' decision. You've got to respect it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that little honest review of the Tops Swap and Play tour. If I had to rate it out of 10, probably a 4, maybe even 3. It's just the organisation was absolutely terrible, and it's not just me saying that. You can see the comments on social media. Just go on the Tops Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Look at their replies. People aren't happy, and they have to pull it out of the bag to repay some of the unhappy customers. Because if they don't, they'll be given a bad name for the rest of their lives. They might even boycott collections, and that's losing sales. And Tops don't want that. That's their business. That's their income. That pays for everything, really. You know, so they've got to pull it out of the bag and apologise to some of the people who attended, and repay some of the people who attended and didn't even get anything to show for it, like meeting the F2, like meeting myself. Anyway, the swap shop, you know, it's absolute heartbreak for some of the people who turned up and didn't get anything back to show for it. So Tops have to repay them and say sorry, publicly say sorry in a statement, you know, just to get some sort of respect back, some sort of dignity, because they lost it at that event, I have to say. If you do have any opinions on this Swap and Play tour, make sure to comment down below, and I'll reply to all the comments as I always do. But yeah, Tops, if you are watching this, you know what to do. You know what to do. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all again soon. Ciao, ciao.